a landlord sees, oh, I have this property in a very good location and I'm collecting about 15 million when I can actually make 30 million and above. Obviously, he would consider that, he will go that route. A landlord would choose to convert his annual rental house to a shortlet because of profitability.
Today, it seems like everyone in Lagos is into this shortlet business. Yes, you heard me right. That one they used to call Airbnb. And it's not just about people saying they want to buy or rent an apartment to start. Or even already existing annual rental landlords are beginning to ask their tenants to leave just because they want to convert their houses to shortlet apartments. And with Detty December just about 2 months away, you know Detty December now, when Lagos sees a huge influx of IJGBs, visitors, tourists, people are seeing this business as a huge money-making opportunity. But you know us now at Nairametrics, we like to ask the right questions so you would not have to. Is all that glitters gold about this shortlet business? Is this investment a time-ticking bomb or solely about greed? Today on Everyday Money Matters, proudly brought to you by Nairametrics, I'm here with a seasoned real estate expert and consultant, Tinu Pax, and we are here to delve into what you need to know about the shortlet business and if you should invest in it. Hello, Tinu.
Hi.
Okay, so like we said, why is it that all of a sudden this shortlet business there's this craze about it in Lagos at the moment. And, it's not just in hotspots like Ikeja or Lekki. Like, why all of a sudden within the past 2 years?
Okay, thanks for having me. I would say because there's a market for it.
Okay.
So when there's a market for something, you see the demand increases, right? So, and because there's a market for it, that's why the demand has gone up. And also, if you're looking at Lagos is like the major state in Nigeria when it comes to population growth, business, commerce, and entertainment, right? So the shortlet business is just perfect for that kind of environment, which is Lagos. And a lot of people are going into it because, one, the demand is there. Two, it is also profitable. So I guess that's why there's like a buzz about the shortlet business and literally everyone wants to go into the shortlet business.
Yeah, I know shortlet, when you say shortlet, is in full term, it's a short rental, rental, and in comparison to annual. So I know about earlier this year, Lagos State proposed monthly rent instead of, the annual one because, people were complaining that it was a bit, over the top. Do you think up to an extent that inspired, or should I say, influenced landlords to now think to be putting up their houses on monthly rental, saying they want to convert it into shortlets? Do you think that's inspired that?
That bill has not been passed yet.
Yes.
Though monthly rental has been existing before now. Right, it has always been there.
Really?
But it's just that it's not something that's been enforced by the Lagos state government and all that. People do monthly rentals, but it's not something that is common because, most landlords in Lagos prefer annual rental. In fact, that's why you see a lot of landlords even opting for 2 years rent in advance because they want that money in bulk compared to monthly rent. Yes, because if you look at it critically, most Lagosians are entrepreneurs, right? And most entrepreneurs don't earn a salary. Their salaries are not stable, right? So though I don't have a statistics to let you know if maybe most Lagosians are entrepreneurs, but looking at it, most people want to venture into businesses and all that, right? So, and if you look at it, it is not like a salary that comes in regularly that you can say, okay, you can afford a monthly rental. So for someone like me, I would rather go for annual rental because I can get the bulk lump sum within a period of 1 year and pay. Compared to monthly rentals, right? So, but I guess the major reason why Lagos State is actually proposing that bill is to make things easier for people. But, I still have my reservations about that, but I don't think that's a cause of discussion today, right? So, but if we are saying maybe monthly rental has influenced landlords to now say, oh, they want to convert their apartment short, I don't think that is like a major reason. So I still stand on the fact that the major reason why people are converting their apartments to shortlet is because there's a market for it. And also it is more profitable than actually putting up your house for annual rental.
We're going to get to that. So for the everyday Nigerian that wants to get into the shortlet business, would you say it's a high risk? Because like I said, not everything that glitters is gold.
Of course.
People just go and see the video and say, yes, I'm starting my shortlet business. Would you say it is a very, I know you said it is very profitable, but would you say it is equally a high risk, maintenance business as well?
Well, I won't really say it is high risk, right? We also have the hotels running. Okay. Shortlet is a hospitality business. Yeah. You understand? And the hospitality business entails a lot. And also, where there is so much profit, also you should be expecting risk involved, right? So the higher the risk, they say the higher the profit, right? So I won't say it's risky. I would just say if you know what you're doing, the business will not be so difficult for you.
Yeah, but when you're speaking about profit, because we see people say, oh, I just started a shortlet business and I'm making as high as 150k per night, from that business. What is the reality behind that figure? Are they somewhat exaggerated?
They are not exaggerating, right? So
you mean somebody go and sleep somewhere and pay 150k
okay, so
per night?
let me now bring you up to speed, right? Okay. Let's talk about the 5-star hotels in Lagos. I'm trying to make a comparison, right? In some 5-star hotels in Lagos, you see a night, one room, no kitchen, no sitting room, no nothing, going for as high as 400,000 per night. 5-star hotels. So, and we are talking about shortlets making 80k or 100k. It's even too small because it's more than realistic.
But it's not fully serviced.
No, actually, there are some shortlet apartments that come fully serviced that gives the hotel service that, most people expect. You understand? So we see, to be honest, there are some shortlet apartments that actually comes with the full service. Though it won't come like your 5-star hotel or 4-star hotel, right? But still, you can have that experience when you come to a shortlet apartment. We are talking about shortlet apartments having gym, swimming pool. In fact, things that some hotels don't have. Like, okay, how many hotels have PS5? Let's come to
and also
think about
with a shortlet apartment, you can decide to, should I say, diversify, because if you want to have a loft, a maisonette, a studio apartment,
you understand,
different types,
and the shortlet apartment gives you more privacy compared to a hotel, right? It gives you more privacy. You have your own personal space. True. You are not bumping into so many people when you're going out. You can even decide to get a full house with self-compound, private gym, private swimming pool, private cinema. How many hotels would give you that experience? I'm talking about a private cinema.
Okay.
Are you getting? And these hotels are going for as high as 400,000, 500,000 per night, per room. And now we are talking about a shortlet that gives you this service and is charging you maybe 150k, 200,000 per night. So it's more than realistic.
It's justifiable. Okay. So for the average investor now that has, let's say, a budget of 60M to get into it, how long realistically would you say, before he recoups his capital back?
So, like we said, the higher the investment, the higher the risk. Okay. Right? No, the higher the profit, right? The higher the risk, yes. The higher the profit, the higher the risk. So, but if we're talking about 60 million will not really get you something in the CBD. It won't. So, if you're talking about 60 million, we are talking about maybe Aja.
60 million, wait. Tinu Pax. Wait. 60 million is not enough to... First of all, I'm not buying an apartment. I want to rent. 60 million is not enough to fully rent a maisonette and fully furnish it.
So now, if you are talking fully from the rental angle, I am talking from the buying. Okay. You understand? Not from the rental, right? Okay. So if you are buying an apartment, you would not see a 60 million naira apartment in the CBD. But if you are renting, of which even rent is actually not so accessible like that, because it's not all apartments that would allow you to actually use their place for shortlet. You understand? So while some will allow you the free will to do whatever you want to do there, some will not allow you. You understand? So, but if we are talking from the rental perspective, okay, 60 million is actually realistic. And within a space of 2 years, you can actually recoup your investment. Yes, with profit. Yes, you can. It's possible.
So, like, what realistic figure should we be looking at getting an apartment on the island, since it's a 60M is not...
No, 60M to buy? Are you talking about
buy?
You know, I already made mention of the fact that if you want to buy an apartment for 60M, you should be looking around probably Abraham Adesanya, Aja axis, right? So, but if you're looking at Ikate, Lekki Phase 1 and the likes, we should be looking at, say... Let's say from 150 upwards.
Okay.
Yes.
So now let's talk about, should I say, the elephant in the room, because I did mention that there's now an ongoing trend of landlords converting their houses to shortlet. And while you did make that argument that it might not be as a result of the Lagos State bill that is yet to be passed on monthly rental, but in your experience, how bad do you think it can get if everyone begins to plug into the same trend? First, would you like to even give a reasonable rationale behind why a landlord would even do that in the first place, apart from the profit? Why would a landlord say that he wants to convert his house, and what impact do you think it can have on the average Lagosian?
Okay, so I think I already said it earlier.
Yeah.
A landlord would choose to convert his annual rental house to a shortlet because of profitability. It is more profitable compared to actually converting it to annual rental, right? So just imagine an apartment in, say, somewhere like Ikeja. A 2-bed should be going for, let's say, 15 million upwards. And that is per annum. But...
Proceed.
Oh, it's
wait, 15 million for rent?
Yes, we see that.
Okay.
It's happening.
Okay.
It's happening.
Okay,
it's
proceed.
Happening. So, you see like annual rental in somewhere like Ikeja going for as high as 15 million. And if you put it out for shortlet, you can be making, say, up to 40 million minimum, right? You can make about, let's say, 30 to 40 million on the average, right? So, a landlord says, I have this property in a very good location and I'm collecting about 15 million when I can actually make 30 million and above. Obviously, it would consider that, it will go that route, right? So, but when we are saying if shortlet is going to disrupt the market, well, it can and it cannot. You understand? It's like a two-way street leading to one direction, right? It can, if everyone chooses to convert their apartment to shortlet. Why? Because it causes oversupply in the market. And you know what they say? When the supply is high, the demand will reduce. You understand? The higher the supply, the lower the demand. So what does that mean? Lesser profit for shortlet owners. That's if there's an oversupply in the market, right? So if there's an oversupply, let's assume everybody in Ikeja now decides that, I want my apartment to be used as shortlet. It means that they have to bring down the price. It means competition will be very high. They have to bring down the price. And once they bring down their price, the profits they are making might not be able to cover for expenses run in the apartment. So that is the bad part of it. But if there's a balance where we have short-term rentals coexisting with annual rental, and the government can actually ensure that there's a balance, there won't be any issues, because the government too should not come in and try to discourage entrepreneurs, because whether you like it or not, the shortlets boosts the economy of Lagos.
I get that, but don't you see it as a time-ticking bomb, especially when, like you initially mentioned, shortlet should be in the CBD. Because the reason why, most people would even want to opt for shortlets is because maybe they have short business to come and do, maybe, just something you need to do quick and,
but
leave.
It's not just that. There are a lot of reasons. We'll continue.
Yeah, I mean, that's why a shortlet should be in the CBD. So don't you think it's should I say a barrel, sitting on, a keg powder? If everybody now decides to, I'm talking about existing landlords, they now decide to be converting their apartment. You don't think it is something that would eventually affect?
And that's what I'm saying. I already explained that if everyone chooses,
I'm not talking about affecting shortlet.
Maybe something
business.
will happen and it will just
to the average Nigerian looking for a home.
And that's what I'm saying. If we have, good government policies that can actually regulate this business, right, it would help. But like I said, how would I put it? Government policy should also be able to coexist with entrepreneurs who are choosing to go into the shortlet business. Because whether you like it or not, the shortlet business is actually, in a way, boosting our economy, right? Just imagine the revenue coming in every Detty December. And not just Detty December, every month of the year. So the government would not want to sleep on such an opportunity. The only thing that can happen is to regulate the business, right? But saying, it might be a ticking time bomb, like you said.
Yeah.
If everyone now chooses, they want to convert their apartment, it means people that want to rent might not be able to find accommodation. And even if there are accommodations, it will be very scarce, because at that time, the demand will be more than the supply for annual rental.
Okay.
While the supply for shortlets will be so much that the demand will reduce. So, but like I said, there can always be a balance. So when there's a balance, things would work out seamlessly without issues.
Up to an extent, I beg to differ regarding it being a bit more profitable to the landlord than long term, because I recall that you said for shortlets that are fully serviced, for instance, you have to then be worrying about the maintenance of the apartment from time to time. You have to be worrying about supplies. You have to worry. There are a lot of expenses. Don't you think that, in comparison to long term?
So, I would not say that, because so as a smart landlord who would want to convert his apartment from annual rentals to shortlets, all he just needs to do is get a manager that is experienced to manage it. He doesn't need to worry himself about how the daily running of the business is. All you just do as a manager is report to the landlord, right? So the thing is, you don't see it's only if you are seeing it from the perspective of you running it yourself and all that, that is when you'll be stressed. So, but when you have an experienced person, a professional run your property for you for shortlet purpose, you have no reason to be worried about it. But I can assure you that at the end of the day, it is very profitable. Why do I know it is profitable? Because more people will not be going into it if it's not profitable. People that are already in it are getting more units. Okay, if you are an investor, you invested 10 million naira in a shortlet apartment. The first year you made 50 million. Second year you made 50 million. Please tell me, won't you try to have more to make more? So, and you see more people investing in it. So it's profitable. That is why people are actually going into it. And more people have heard about how profitable it is. That is why they're also going into it.
Okay, now let's talk about the money. What should we consider before getting into it? As a first time, shortlet business.
Well, I don't think I can tell you everything right now, because we'll sleep here, right? So, but I'll just say the basics. First, you need to consider location, because before you say, you want to jump into the shortlet business, not all locations are suitable for shortlet. We see a lot of people putting shortlets in places that the road is not even accessible and they expect to sell. I've had people reach out to me telling me, my apartment is in one dungeon. I'll say, I'm sorry, I cannot come, because why would you put your apartment in that kind of place?
But there is the market. Look at the
market is not everywhere, right? The market is not everywhere. You can have your shortlet in places that people least expect a shortlet to be, and it will still be profitable. Doesn't mean that location is bad.
Okay.
Are you getting my point? Yeah. But there are some locations that you should not even think about it, because there are several factors that makes shortlet profitable. And one of it is accessibility.
Okay.
If you have your shortlet in a very accessible location, you would sell. 2, demand. What is the demand like in that environment? If the demand is not so high, you won't be selling. You understand? Okay. So those are some of the factors. So location, what is your financial capacity? Because you cannot just jump into the shortlet business without having enough information about how much it will cost you. Because some people are just telling you, just jump into it. You've forgotten that if you buy a house or you rent, you're supposed to furnish. In fact, sometimes if you rent an apartment, like I said, a 2-bed for 15 million, for example, to furnish, you can spend about 25 million. Somebody, a client of mine, somebody who booked me for consultation, just opened up a shortlet apartment somewhere in a right? And as we speak, I think he bought it. I'm not sure if he bought it or he rented it. But as we speak, he used about 25 million to furnish. 25 million to furnish. So let's assume he actually rented out, he rented the apartment for 15 million. You are using more than that to furnish. So, like you said, 60 million. You are investing about 60 million in it. And somebody else told you, don't worry, just bring money, and you now do one scanty furnishing, and you expect to get clients. You won't get clients because, one, look at Lekki, look at Ikeja. The competition is too much. Have you seen some apartments? It's like you are in heaven. Like, have you seen some apartments? Have you seen what people are spending on apartments? And you will just come in here, do one shabby interior and think you're going to sell. Obviously, you won't.
Okay, so with that said, now tell us how to go about it. How can we differentiate our apartments amongst the crowd and be very profitable while at it?
So like I said, one, we've talked about considering location, right? Location is very vital. Your interior. is also key, right? So when you pay attention to your interior, I see some shortlet owners trying to design their apartment themselves. You are not an interior decor. You are trying to design it yourself. Fine, you might have the knowledge about it. Only if you have the knowledge, you can go about it. But if you are not an interior designer, don't bother doing it, right? Hire the services of a professional interior designer to design your apartment so that it stands out. Your interior designer knows what to put in your apartment to make it stand out. Also, you must also consider some services, right? So we have apartments that offer some services like
it is fully serviced though.
Chauffeur services, car rental services.
Some even put as little as drinks in their fridge.
Yes, in fact, some people put drinks, wines, biscuits, coffee, you understand? PS5.
Okay.
In fact, some people ensure that when they are setting up their apartment, that estate has maybe swimming pool, gym, because a lot of people are always looking for apartments, even if they know they will not use the gym or the swimming pool. But the idea behind the fact that you have a swimming pool or a gym makes it more profitable than an apartment that doesn't have. So all these services, being responsive as well, because cleaning services too. Most shortlet apartments will say, we only do cleaning 3 times a week. If you can elevate your own by making it daily cleaning, it's also something that some people would find attractive and attracted to. So, allowing things like content creation in your apartment can also give your apartment an edge. So, there are just a lot of ideas about what you can do to stand out in the shortlet market. Because if you think you're the first person doing it, you will see 500 people also doing the same thing. But
even better.
So also your marketing too, as well. Because even if you have the best apartment, if it is not reaching the right audience, you will be nowhere to be found amongst the crowd, right? So ensure that you are properly marketing it using the right marketing channels and tools to push your property forward. So the more people see your apartments, the more they are likely to book, because this shortlet business is a game of numbers, right?
So let's talk about this Detty December that is happening at the moment now, because a lot of people are coming into the country. Lagos is a huge influx of, different kinds of people. For someone seeking to get out of this, this surge in population, someone seeking to get into the shortlet business, I think would you say it's a little bit too late, or, what would you advise
it's not too late. We just talked about how to stand out.
Yeah.
It's really not too late, right? You can still go into the shortlet business, right? Just once you have a good location, no matter how populated the Ikeja is, there's still a property in Ikeja to buy.
Is it true that even during that time, like as of last year, December, people were taking shortlets as high as 200 at December?
200?
Yes.
200? 200? And I don't want to cast the shortlet business.
Please cast it now.
I want to cast it. But 200... I just talked about how hotels per room are going for as high as 500. I said some shortlets are going for... Don't let me cast it, because 200 is actually the average.
Okay, the way you are making it seem now, that means someone can even think of it, should I say, somewhat as an investment, because you rent the shortlets and use it for even something, maybe like for a shoot or something. Is that possible?
Yes, why not?
Maybe like a music video, and you even get to make
Nollywood
millions.
Movies, photo shoots, content creation, podcasts, like what we are doing currently.
You
people
can
rent
just get a shortlet for it.
Of course, they do that. So, and usually when you rent an apartment for podcast or movie shoots, sometimes the host will say you are paying per hour.
Wow.
Instead of for the whole day. So yes, they do that.
Okay.
So if you are, for example, someone wants to do a photo shoot, there's no reason why I'm staying in the apartment for the whole day.
Okay.
So my shoots might not be more than 2 hours, 3 hours. Why should I pay for a whole day? So you just pay per hour. So it might be maybe 10,000 per hour, 15K per hour.
Okay, for someone, for instance, that's just sees the opportunity in this Detty December and gets into it, and after the Detty December craze and the likes, how can that person find it sustainable? Do you think it's a sustainable business for someone who didn't, legit study the business and just got into it because of the craze?
So that's why I always tell people, before you venture into the shortlet business, seek expert opinion, right? When you seek expert, so for example now, I usually advise people, usually on my page, I'll tell them, seek expert opinion, seek advice from a professional. Like I am a professional when it comes to the shortlet business. And when people seek advice from me or book my consultation sessions, I make them understand that, this and this is what you need to do to position yourself properly. Because, some people just go into shortlet because of the Detty December craze. And once that hype ends, they are back to square one and they don't know where to start from. They are now everywhere. Please, come and book my apartment, because they don't know how the business runs. So there are various channels. So like I said, what you really need to focus on is your marketing. If you have gotten every other thing right, like your interior, your management and everything, because the shortlet business is not as easy as people think it is. No, there are so many things involved, right? So, but if you can get all those things right, put money into your marketing. Don't be alaruru. Or
so that should take a bulk of the budget.
Yes.
Okay, what about water and electricity, especially if you are not in the necessarily most advanced area? How do you handle issues like with water and electricity?
So it all depends. So thankfully, there are a lot of estates right now that treat their water, particularly in places like Lekki, where water can be an issue. The quality of water can be an issue. So at least I've stayed in a couple of shortlet apartments that the water is actually good, considering the fact that it's within an environment where the water is not so good. So if you get an apartment within an estate that invests in water treatment, I don't think water should be an issue. Then also, if you also have an estate that's also sorted out electricity, light, you will not be racking your head about how to get solar or inverter or how to get a personal generator and all that. So all that will already be figured out by the estate facility management. So all you just do is pay for those services, maybe annually or every 3 months or every 6 months, thereabout. So all that will now be factored into your cost. You understand? So once that is factored into your cost, then easily, you know how much you're supposed to give out your apartment per day and all that. So that is how
What do you think is the fastest way still to lose money? Because we're talking about people who, just like you said, spend millions and millions investing into the business and they want to recoup their profit. What's the fastest way to lose money that people should avoid?
Is it lose money in the shortlet
business?
The fastest way to lose money is not, like I said, not getting expert advice before jumping into it. For example, I have people who have already ventured into the shortlet business in areas that they are not supposed to venture into the business at all. You've spent so much. Let me even give you an example. There was a particular person that reached out to me and said the man put his shortlet apartment in a particular location, I think around that Jar side, and he has spent so much. And when the lady reached out to me, she said, they want to market it. She asked me, how much should they give out? I think it was a 4-bedroom duplex or thereabout. First of all, why would you even invest in a 4-bedroom duplex in that type of area, right? Fine, that area is gradually opening up because of the coastal road and all that. But it is a lot of money to be spent. And if you spend so much on a 4-bedroom duplex, you should expect to give it out per night at least a premium, which is say 200,000 per night. Right? But because of the location, it will be difficult to find people that would want to actually book that apartment for 200,000. So you have to cut your price down to, let's say, 120. And you have expenses running to almost 100,000 per day. So what is your profit margin? Right? So the fastest way to lose money is by not seeking expert opinion first. Right? If you don't seek expert opinion, just forget it. You might lose, but you might be lucky to be in an environment where the population is good, everything is okay and all that, right? So, but the first way to lose money is by being in the wrong location. And 2, not properly maintaining your apartment. You understand? Because you find a lot of people. In fact, I entered one serious issue with one person recently, and it was a battle because you could not maintain your apartment and you're selling the apartment as if it is in good shape. When people get to know that your apartment is not in good shape, you won't get clients. So that is another way to lose money. Also, not employing the right hands to work with you. So like I was saying, Aroro, stingy.
Of course.
You are not ready to spend on your cleaner, on your facility to get people, quality hands to work with you. You are mising. At the end of the day, you get people that will not only steal from you, right? They will also destroy your property. So I've worked with a facility manager at some point that if a guest comes into the apartment and spoils something, he would not say anything. The next guest coming in is who he will now say, it is this person that damaged it, because you are not paying attention to detail. Are you understanding my point? So you need to work with the right set of people. Get good hands. Even if it means you spending more, at the end of the day, it will be worth it. Because if you say, oh, you're trying to cut corners, I don't want to spend so much, I can easily get cheap labor. At the end of the day, what you have spent millions of naira into will get spoiled at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tinu Pax. Finally, before we go, because for people seeking to get into the shortlet business for this Detty December, we know the hardest, should I say, people to manage are people, adults. Speak a bit on managing people, guests that you have come into your apartment, stealing, damage of property, smoking, partying, and the likes.
How do you manage people like that?
Managing people.
Well, it's not so difficult. We have something called house rules when it comes to the shortlet business. Once you have your house rules and your caution deposit, it's very important, right? So there are some apartments that are very luxurious apartments that will charge you as high as 200,000 for refundable caution deposit, 250,000 as refundable, even 300,000. I recently gave out an apartment that they charged about 1 million for refundable caution. Yes, because the owner knows what he has spent, what is inside his apartment, right? If you don't damage anything, you will get your 1 million naira back.
Oh my goodness.
Are you getting my point? So there are certain things like those house rules. When you have those house rules in place, like no smoking, no loud music, no pets. Some people bring dogs, cats that can damage your couch and all that, and so on and so forth, right? Some rules are no maximum, like having a maximum number of guests in the apartment. There are some apartments, for example, a 2-bed should not accommodate more than 4 persons. So it's already in the rule. So if you bring 6 people into the apartment, how would I put it now? What you pay for at the end of the day is your caution. Use your caution to pay for it, right? So if you're not supposed to be more than 4 guests, if you smoked in the apartment, what will happen at the end of the day is that your caution will not be refunded back to you.
Absolutely.
So when guests are coming to the apartment, also we collect their valid means of ID to protect the clients in case maybe someone ran away with the PS5 or someone damaged something.
You people that will be caging PS5. It won't look fine anymore. You cage TV, cage PS5.
I think there's a way they now screw the PS5 to the wall that people will not be able to carry it. But all those rules are in place to ensure that guests are cautious when they're in the apartment. So once you have it at the back of your mind that, my 300k is somewhere. If I smoke, they will take my full 300k. You'll be very cautious. You see some people coming to the apartment, just stain the walls, stain the curtain and think that, no, you remove it from the caution.
Finally, do you think that is even a reason that landlords are even opting for...
That is another reason.
For monthly, because people don't maintain houses well.
In fact, I think that should be another topic for another day, because people don't really maintain these apartments, right? We have good tenants who...
Maybe that's why landlords are opting for long-term, short-term.
Yes, exactly. Some landlords are because at the end of the day, you spend so much in your apartment. By the time the client or the tenant is leaving that apartment, the expenses alone, the damage is a lot. We see these things online every day. We see it on social media, how tenants destroy landlords. And at the end of the day, in fact, I had a client recently that said he's tired of rental. He just wants to go into shortlet. Because at the end of the day, you put out your apartment out for annual rental. Not only do they damage it, you're not also making so much. Like I said, somebody is collecting, let's say, 4 million naira in rent per year. What he gets at the end of the day is a totally run down apartment that he even can spend up to 1 million, 1.5, 2 million to get that apartment in shape. So why don't you just go for shortlet apartments where whatever you are making also caters to the maintenance of the apartment. So while you are making profit, you are getting daily inflow, you can take out of that money, maintain the apartment still in good shape. So if you were the one, won't you go for shortlet? It's the fact. If you think about it critically, if there's enough money, you would not want to really consider annual rental. But like I said, there has to be a balance.
Okay.
Because everybody cannot do shortlet. Everybody too cannot do annual rental.
Yes.
So they have to be able to coexist.
I think there is a lot to be spoken about regarding the shortlet, and like you said, we can't see everything that can be said. It's a very, very broad and exhausting topic. But we just wanted to give you that little tip for those of you seeking to get into the shortlet business to get a bit of this Detty December rave money-making profit. Till next time on Everyday Money Matters, proudly brought to you by Nairametrics. Thank you so much for your time, Tinu Pax.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. Till next time.
Yes, bye.